Police out in Las Vegas are trying to figure out who sent a severed pig's head to the CEO of a company. We're digging into what we know so far about this disturbing delivery, a creepy note that came with it, and the possible motive behind the macabre mystery right now. And we're going to break it down with Tom Smith, retired NYPD detective and co-host of the Gold Shield Show. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, so this is a story that seems straight out of the movies. What kind of movie? Which movie? That's a separate question. But what do we have here? The CEO of a Nevada company that's been working to integrate AI, artificial intelligence, into buying and selling real estate received a disgusting gift in the mail. Maybe that's one way of putting it. Someone apparently sent him a box, and nestled down in packing paper and wrapped up in plastic wrap was a bloody pig's head. This is like The Godfather, right? So the head arrived at a family member's home via USPS on July 29th. The unfortunate recipient of the box, Blake Owens, shared photos showing the head all wrapped up inside the box with local media outlets like the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And along with this gross head was a note. Now, before we dive into what it said, I want to give you a little bit of background on Blake Owens. So the 30-year-old Las Vegas native is the founder of an AI startup called Agrippa. It is named for the Roman general Marcus Agrippa, who fought against Mark Antony and Cleopatra centuries ago. Little history lesson here on Sidebar. So Owens has been working to better integrate AI into the real estate industry. AI is going everywhere right now. And he has made some bold statements in recent months about how eventually AI will make commercial brokers obsolete. It's pretty scary. Back in June, local news station 8 News Now did a story about the shuttered East Side Cannery Hotel and Casino, the sale of which was assisted by Owens' new AI tool called Marcus. Marcus, Agrippa, you get it. Okay, so then in July, Owens posted on X about the future of AI in the world of CRE, commercial real estate. On July 3rd, he wrote, PSA for CRE brokers whose only skill is hitting send on an email blast. Marcus is coming. Agrippa Inc.'s AI dealmaker doesn't sleep, doesn't bluff, and doesn't take a cut. You will be replaced. I'll make sure of it. Long live Marcus. Then he apparently posted a longer tweet, or X or message, on July 17th, writing in part, CRE brokers, brace yourselves. AI is coming for your commissions. And don't get me wrong, there are excellent brokers out there, but many are useless middlemen adding unnecessary costs. Just like Grok serves X users, Marcus is designed to forecast behavior, provide feedback, and uncover hidden leverage for Agrippa's users. There's still significant work ahead. Marcus must account for all deal types, property types, user characteristics, and more. But this $45 million deal was an exciting first step in our thesis of combining AI and game theory. Long live Marcus. So it appears that not everyone took kindly to Owens' online boasts, and the note that accompanied the head kind of gives us an idea of what the sender might have been thinking. Okay, to talk about it, I want to bring on Tom Smith, retired NYPD detective and co-host of the Gold Shield Show. It's an incredible podcast. Hope everybody can check it out. Tom, is this the beginning of threats that we see in the AI space? I mean, I think I can make a conclusion here. I don't know for sure. Wouldn't it seem, and I'll get into what the note says, so let's not spoil it yet, but I got to imagine he making bold posts about AI and talking about how it might replace people's jobs can be very, very scary for a lot of people. You think we're going to be seeing threats against AI creators?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, no one wants to lose their job or the position they have in companies. I get that. But there's a line, and this guy crossed that line. You could be upset, you could be mad all you want about the innovations that are coming, in the AI world. But when you start doing actions and creating threats like this, you're crossing the line, and law enforcement's not going to have it because of, the assassination of Brian Thompson in New York City, last year, kind of set off the watching over CEOs and really paying attention to threats that are out there, because no one wants to deal with another assassination of a CEO.
Let me ask you this. pig's head. You ever see anything like that before, aside from the chopped up horse's head in The Godfather? Have you seen, in your experience, has anything like that ever been sent through the mail?
Well, there's cases of other things being sent through the mail as well. It's a powerful statement that people just, think are going to get ahead and get ahead of their message. But it doesn't work because there's so many things that you have to do in order to mail that package that inevitably you're going to get caught.
Yeah, how does that work? How does that work? Like, what do police do to look at who had the ability to have a pig, have the head, and ship it in a way where they wouldn't get noticed?
Well, the U.S. Postal Inspectors and the U.S. Postal Police are going to be involved in this investigation because it is somewhat of a federal crime. So the FBI can also get involved as well, and the locals. So there's going to be a team effort to do this because, like I said, the threats that are out there because of what happened in New York City are taken very, very seriously. So they're going to go all out into stopping or arresting this person, which I don't think is going to be a long process.
Not to scare everybody about AI, but I got to say this. If you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals, they forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp. They pay a small fee with your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even try to sell your property. And you won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. When's the last time you checked your home title? If the answer is never, you need to do something about it right now. That is why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Sidebar at HometitleLock.com. You will get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That is 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they will spend up to $1 million to fix it. So right now, go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code Sidebar. That is HometitleLock.com, promo code Sidebar. Where does someone even get a pig's head like that? And do they do testing on the pig's head?
They could. I mean, that's going to be another factor of where, this guy is and the accessibility he has to animals and what he did with this. But, it's not so much that, Jesse, it's the threat. It's the overwhelming scare tactics that are going on in the world. And it's not just this. There's many CEOs, especially after Brian Thompson's assassination, that you had wanted posters up with X's through their faces on postings around New York and other states. So it's being taken very, very seriously.
Before I get into this, let me go into the note, okay? So let's dig into what this letter had to say. And it starts off by calling Owens Clark Kent knockoff. And not to make light of a serious situation, but Owens does kind of look like Clark Kent, down to the glasses. Anyway, it says Clark Kent knockoff. A simple Google search goes a long way these days, especially in Vegas. Saw your Marcus video. What a joke. AI, which is in quotes, is not going to replace brokers. Clearly you don't understand real estate wasn't built by developers or investors. And it sure as hell wasn't built by tech guys in Lululemon. It was built by brokers. We did it the hard way. No shortcuts, no tech, just people. So enjoy your moment while it lasts. And don't get greedy because pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. And the note is signed with just an M. Tom, what are the clues from that note?
Well, he gives up who he is. He's a broker. Plain and simple. He goes
unless it's a misdirection. It
could be, but you know what? When people aren't skilled in this, they make mistakes. And that was a mistake because his passion came out and he forgot to take out the word we after the word broker. So it kind of gives a idea of who he is and who else is going to be upset about this. He constantly is antagonistic in his posts and his videos about getting brokers out of the way and not having, them not having jobs and being replaced. So the obvious answer is this individual is a broker. Now, whether he knows him or worked for a company that they were affiliated with will be seen down the line. But he gives up a lot of clues in this of who he is.
So if we assume it's a broker of some kind, and now we have the pig's head, we have the note, how do they just start looking at local brokers in the area? I mean, could it be from another state? What's the next step?
Well,
Oh,
the first thing that,
by the way, I'm sorry, fingerprints on the note.
hmm Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. The box, the note, all that is going to be printed and processed. And there's going to be a series of video surveillance tapes that are going to be pulled as well in and around that area. And like I said, his identity, I don't think is down the line too far, because we've talked about it before, Jesse. The surveillance capabilities today of comings and goings into establishments or when crimes are committed are so advanced these days. You can literally track someone from getting out of their car to inside the store to back in their car and getting license plates and all that. So I think that's going to be the first step, on top of, like you said, processing the box, the note, and everything for any possible fingerprints that are on there.
Now, right off the bat, the suspect was indicating that he's done at least a little bit of research into Owens, right? He knows he lives in Vegas. Obviously, he was able to find Owens' home address to send the package. So then I wonder, is there a way where they can track? I mean, I guess they first have to get a suspect before they can look at what the search history was.
Right. Once he's identified and arrested, that's going to take place. His digital footprints, searches he did, because that's going to all build up to the motive of this. And the prosecution's going to build that in their case. So that's going to be afterwards as well.
The letter takes a darker turn at the end, tells Owens to enjoy the moment, not get greedy, talks about a slaughter. You couple that with the actual pig head. This is not just somebody commenting on X. This is a different kind of step. How dangerous is this suspect?
Oh, very. You have to take a threat like this for someone to go to the steps that he did in putting all this together. He's dangerous. I mean, you have to be aware of the dangers and mental capabilities of some people out there and how hard things hurt. You don't know what triggers people in their lives, in their jobs and all that. So all of these, threats are very dangerous until you grab this person, get him off the street, and have the ability to talk to him and see what's going on.
By the way, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, the sender's name on the package was Marcus Agrippa, so another reference to the company, its new AI tool. And I would say, unlike a lot of threatening letters that are featured on TV and movies, this one isn't typed or uses cutout letters from a newspaper. It appears, based on the reporting, to be handwritten. Could a handwriting analyst help narrow down the suspect? How does that work?
Yeah, no doubt about it. All the analytical work that's going to go into this is going to be broad, from fingerprints to handwriting analysis to, listen, the package had to be dropped off somewhere, so you have a starting point. That's not a mystery. So you have a starting point of where this took place. Then you're going to go back into some cases. Has this happened before? And you're going to go into other investigations of similarities of this. Did it happen before? Who were the suspects in that? So there's going to be a lot to do with this. This is not a simple investigation. It's going to be pretty broad and hopefully not too long, and they get this guy.
Talking about that, okay, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, they released surveillance photos of a person of interest in this case. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, police said in a press release that the man was seen entering a post office on July 28th, so that's the day before the package was delivered to a home in Summerlin. This is just outside Vegas. And Metro police officers reportedly spoke with Owens on the 30th, according to the Review-Journal, and filed a report for harassment. But Owens says they classified the incident as a non-threat. Seems like a threat to me, Tom, no?
Yeah, very much. You can't, kind of take this lightly. And you would think there'd be more of a push in this, but because of it being, again, in the U.S. Postal Service, it is a federal offense and a federal crime. So the federal agencies that need to be involved are going to be the U.S. Postal Inspectors, Postal Police, the FBI, if needed. But this has to be, run down, because the ramifications of not doing it could be dreadful and could be really bad.
And also copycats.
Yeah, that's going to happen. That happens in every crime because of, here's why, the notoriety. Look at the press he's getting. Look, it may have had an impact on this. So people are going to take extraordinary steps to try to get their point across, but those are going to be perceived as threats. So they're going to be held accountable for those actions.
By the way, just to go back to put a fine point on it, why would police, if we're understanding the reporting correctly, why would they classify this as a non-threat at the time?
I don't know, because maybe just the wording of it, there's not a legitimate, I'm going to kill you, be prepared, watch your family, anything like that. But you have to think outside the box a little bit of, hidden messages and things like that. So you can't just go on face value of what you're looking at to classify a crime. You have to look more into it. And like I said, the ramifications of not doing anything are a lot worse.
Well, I guess the question would be, can you send anybody anything you want? Can you write anybody anything you want as long as it's not a direct threat to violence? So if he's upset by this message and he, instead of sending a pig's head, just sent the letter, would that be enough? Is the pig's head, I'm sure a defense attorney would say it's not symbolic of death. He's saying he's a pig. You can't send a live pig to him, so he sent this. I don't know. Is that an avenue?
Well, that's why you have people in the DA's office who went to law school and spent a lot of money doing so to make those decisions, and to look into the crimes and what could be charged. Detectives' jobs are to run down the guy, get enough evidence and probable cause to lock him up. And then the DA is going to take over from there as far as what to charge him and what he's going to be held accountable for in the criminal justice system.
By the way, talking about Owens, he seems to kind of be taking the whole thing in stride, saying it seems almost too theatrical to be taken seriously. I say that because in an interview with outlet KLAS, Owens spoke directly to the sender, whoever they are, saying, to that person, I know they have my information. I'm happy to speak with them, perhaps over email instead of a mail package, but whatever I can do to help people embrace change, I think is what I'd like to do. Now, what do you make of that message?
Well, that's kind of trying to quell the storm a little bit and maybe get someone to calm down a little bit with their threats and future threats. You don't want to constantly get this. And that's going to be part of this investigation as well, going into his emails and his social media posts. Did any other threats come in of a similar nature or just maybe the same wording that was sent to him? So all that's going to be part of it as well. But I think that step that he's taking is to stop future threats from coming in.
But the sender wouldn't take the bait. If they had a meeting in the park or at a restaurant, wouldn't police swarm them?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a good shot, but, sometimes criminals fall for things like that, so you give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, you go the next step. But like I said, with the evidence that they got, the surveillance picture, having a photo of someone is enormous because someone's going to know him, someone at his work, his family, his job, whatever it might be, someone's going to recognize him. And the next steps of this investigation, I think, are going to be pretty quick.
By the way, you talked about this being a federal crime, possibly a state crime. Generally speaking, what charges could this person potentially be facing if they're arrested?
Well, the threat itself is going to be, a terrorist threat can be perceived from this. And then you have all federal crimes as far as mail goes, and mail fraud and wire fraud and all that, of things being sent through the mail. So all that's going to be, gathered, and the best charges or the highest charges that they can go forward with are going to be laid out.
Tom Smith, I bet you didn't think that we were going to be talking about this kind of case this week, but things always change rapidly. Thank you so much for taking the time. Got a great background, by the way. It's amazing that it always stays on Sunset. What a beautiful view you have. I don't know how that happens, Tom, but that's amazing. Just it stays on Sunset.
Yeah, you know what? It's the New York thing. It's always sunny in New York, but not really.
I want everybody to go check out Gold Shields. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Always a pleasure, Jesse. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. So before we wrap things up, I want to tell you real quickly, I am going to be hosting Cuomo tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on News Nation. Hope you can all watch it. Hopefully, I can take some calls from you out there. We'll see. Hopefully, we have enough time. A lot of stuff happening in the world, but check it out, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, News Nation. I'll see you then. And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.